Hello and welcome back to the channel. There are so many talking points today. We have talking points about Hojlund, Lammens, Stiller and Camavinga. Let's get straight into it. First, we are going to talk about Hojlund. According to the news, according to Fabrizio, Napoli are set to send contract proposal to Rasmus Hojlund as talks with Manchester United are proceeding. Decision is up to Hojlund with contract terms set to be discussed from today as several clubs are interested in him. Hojlund is one that has been discovered to be surplus to requirements after signing Sesko. We now have Sesko in the team. We also have Mount who can play in the forward positions. According to the preference of Amorim, we have seen that he's preferring to play Mount instead of Hojlund. So Hojlund has to look for a club, and right now Napoli are the front runners for his signature. According to Fabrizio also, Napoli have made new contract with Man United for Rasmus Hojlund. The talks are underway. So the camp, Hojlund's camp, are keen on the move, but they want guarantees that he can stay in the future. You see, Hojlund's probably looking at the case of players like Sancho, Rashford, and Anthony who came back from loans and were part of the bomb squad. The club didn't want anything to do with them, but I think the Hojlund case, everyone can agree it's different. He has been dedicated to his career. He has not been a problem player. So I think if he went and did well, the club would be willing to welcome him back, or even arrange a good arrangement for him, or probably make him train while he awaits his move. Unlike the other three players that were on high wages and were not interested in getting back to the club. Hojlund has also been offered to Bayern, according to Florian Pattenberg. He says Rasmus Hojlund has been and continues to be offered to Bayern Munich on loan. The option is on the table, but Bayern have not beaten yet and are exploring other possibilities. Napoli are concretely working on a loan deal for Hojlund. The players camp expect that a decision will take a few more days. So there are going to be a few options for Hojlund. One of those options is Napoli. The other options is Bayern. If Bayern can take up the offer, because I think he will do well in those leagues that are a bit slower than the Premier League. He did well in Serie A with Atalanta. He will go back there with Napoli, and I think he will also do well with Napoli. Bayern is also a good team which dominates the Bundesliga, so he would have many chances. And as you can see, he's been scoring well in Europe. He's been doing well in Europe in the games that towards the Europa League final. He did well until he faced a Premier League team in the final. So I think the level in the Bundesliga and the level in the Serie A would be good to help him getting the confidence, and hopefully he can come back if he does well, or probably even get a better fee for him with an obligation to buy or a buy option. The other news is about Lammens. This has been the hot news today. Man United are working on a deal to sign Lammens from Royal Antwerp. The personal terms are almost agreed, and Man United are in active talks for the Belgian goalkeeper. They are trying to anticipate more clubs from France and Italy based on exits, but I think as long as Man United go for him, they are the bigger club, and I think there's a higher chance that he'll also take the Man United. There are also other concerns because there had been reports that City are interested in him, so there was huge speculation that Man City were getting skeptical about the deal for Donnarumma. Donnarumma is asking for higher wages. His agent also wants some fees and PSG also wants around 40 million. So it becomes a complicated deal. So if it gets complicated, they might think probably we can get the deal for Lammens. So could be a club that could be troubling for Man United, but Man United are advanced in their discussions and are probably going to get it over the line. So hopefully we don't get a situation where the deal is hijacked. So the Man United team is really interested in the player, and he's expected to cost around 20 million pounds. That's a good 20 million euros, which is around 17 million pounds. That's a good deal for Man United, and Man United can be able to raise that fund according to the situation where they went for Baliba and didn't get him. It showed that Man United have the funds to sign him, and hopefully can be able to sign him before Man City get into the race. According to Fabrizio, on more on Lammens is that the talks are underway with Royal Antwerp on transfer fee close to 20 million euros, and negotiations are advancing. Lammens has already said yes to Man United, so there won't be any problem with personal agreements. Fabrizio now confirmed that there are no talks with Man City, as their target is Gigio Donnarumma if Ederson leaves. So I think City recently signed Trafford from Burnley, their former player who had gone to Burnley and did so well. So they resigned him, and he's a player that they really think of highly. So I don't see how they go for Lammens. So that is a case that will also puts Man United at an advantage. Man United is one of the clubs that Lammens might look at it and see he has a chance to be the first keeper, because Onana and Bayern have not been good enough. Tom Heaton has not been our keeper for a very long time, even though he's the third keeper. So he might look at his chances and think he might start and be the number one goalkeeper soon. And he's one of the most highly regarded goalkeepers in terms of save percentages, in terms of passing from the back, in terms of coming with the ball, especially the bravery around the box. We have a problem because neither Bayindir nor Onana are very good commanding their box. They are always bullied, and we have cases where the goals against Tottenham, the goal against Arsenal recently shows that the goalkeepers are not commanding their area as much as they need to. So Lamens, one of the strengths of Lamens is that he's brave in the box, he commands his area, he comes for balls, and it's something that can help the defenders, especially you want your keeper to command the box and to be able to come for those long balls so that it doesn't create chaos in the box. The other issues we are discussing, one of the things that Man United also want is a midfielder, and according to news reports from Ben Jacobs, one of the midfielders that we were interested in is Stuttgart's Angelo Stiller. So Angelo Stiller is a good midfielder. He has a very good passing range. He has good defensive capability. So it was one that we were looking at. These were reports from yesterday, so there were no guarantee on anything that develops or that any midfield arrives. But there were internal discussions that were taking place over different targets. Stiller had come up in the discussions as Man United decided whether to sign another midfielder before the window shuts. Once Ruben Amorim is really interested in a midfielder, he looks at that midfield and realizes that it's not good enough. We looked at it against Arsenal, and you saw Casemiro doesn't have the legs. When you pair Casemiro and Bruno always gets out of position, and you need a midfielder who can cover the distance. One of the things that Ruben Amorim has been really talking about is athleticism. He needs an athletic midfielder who can be able to cover the distance and be able to help the team when there is in transition. The other team, once they go into transition, they just bypass Casemiro like that, and you see that our defense is getting a lot of pressure from the other team. So Stiller was one of the considerations. There are the other players like Hackney. There are other players like Wharton. It's going to be difficult to get a player like Wharton. You see, Wharton has an £100 million prize, the same as Baliba. So if we can't get Baliba, I don't think, especially with the remaining days in the transfer window, we can be able to get Wharton. Considering Eze has already gone to Arsenal and they got around £69 million with that deal, they don't really need the money, so they can decide to stay with their team for the season, especially because they are in the UEFA Conference League, and Wharton might not be a gettable target. Other reports for Stiller is that, according to Florian Plattenberg, the rumors that were linking Manchester United with Angelo Stiller are wide off the mark. So I believe Florian Plattenberg is very good when involving German players, German news. He's very good at it. So it shows that there's some whenever he talks about something, it's always the case that he has some inside information. So he says there are no internal or external discussions nor any concrete plans regarding a Man United move for Stiller before deadline day. He will go into this season with Stuttgart. His contract runs until 2028. So the Stuttgart consider him a top player. They don't want to lose one of their players. So sometimes some of this news are a club putting it out there that their player is not for sale. In the process, trying to raise the fees so that when Man United come for him, they'll say they don't need to sell him, so they have to get a good offer, a higher offer than that would tempt them. So it can be one of those things where Florian Plattenberg is putting out the news there, but some of these journalists, you can tell they work with the club, so the club is trying to put a situation where the player is not for sale, and if the club comes for him, especially in the final days of the window, then they'll have to come up with a good offer that is too good to refuse. So that could be the case. It could also be the case that these were just rumors. You see, Man United are always linked with many players, but you can consider Ben Jacobs. In most cases, he gets the Man United news, right? So when he says that there are discussions about him, there are probably discussions, but there have not been any move to go to the club or to his agents. It's just an internal discussion. So there's chances that both of them could be right. Florian Plattenberg from the German side and Ben Jacobs from the Man United side, they could all be right because the talks can take place, whereas they have not contacted the player or the club. So that's going to be another interesting one that is going to dominate the last 10 days. Hopefully we can know about the midfielder, but right now one of the biggest things that we are pursuing is the goalkeeper. There are two positions that Man United want to take care of before the window closes. That is the goalkeeper, and the other side we are looking at the midfielder. So but the goalkeeper looks to be assured in terms of the progress that is being made. When once you hear the likes of Fabrizio talk about it, you know there's concrete interest in him. The other issue about the midfielder that one we have been linked with is Camavinga. According to reports, Fichajes from Spain, Manchester United are now considering the option of presenting a proposal close to 69.1 million for Eduardo Camavinga. That was based on Team Talk, which are not that trustworthy, and Fichajes is also not as trustworthy journalist, and we'll have to wait for confirmation from others. But there have been rumors, there have been other reports from the media about Man United interest in Camavinga. But I feel that this could also be a case of Madrid trying to get off a player, and they're trying to brief the journalist. So, or in other cases, it could just be a journalist trying to create the interest about Man United, trying to build up his name, because Man United, it's well known that Man United need a midfielder. So that's not a secret. People know that Man United need a midfielder, and because Man United need a midfielder, some of these journalists will try to link us to anyone that they think that can leave their club. So Camavinga played, I think, half the games last season. He wasn't used as much as you'd expect. The likes of Chumeni and Valverde were mostly used. So he could be surplus to requirements, or he could be looking to another team where he starts. And I think I'm guaranteed that if he had to come to Man United, I think I'm positive he will be able to start most of the games. We have a problem in midfield, and he would be able to feel it. He's athletic, he's combative, and he'll be able to handle the pressure and the physicality of the Premier League. So we are going to keep on understanding if we are going to sign a midfielder, but that's not doesn't seem to be as much a priority right now as a goalkeeper. So the Lammens story will be the one that will keep on progressing, and we'll see more about it and what can we get from it. I think within the next few days it's going to be wrapped up, and then we'll have 1 week to make a midfield signing. It's going to be difficult because teams often want time to be able to get a replacement for their teams, because you just can't get a main player from a team and you leave them without a replacement. So we are going to know if we are going to have a short gap midfielder who will probably come for the year, and then at the end of the season we can sign Baliba. We did the groundwork this time, and Man United is still convinced that Baliba wants to come to Man United, and they can also get him in the next window. So they have done the groundwork, and hopefully they can be able to go to Brighton in a year's time with the 115 million or something close to that, and get Baliba. Until then, we'll keep following up the news. We'll keep understanding what is going to happen with Man United, and see you in the next one.